great strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the very air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro, bearing slavery scars. I am the red man, driven from the land. I am the immigrant, clutching the hope I seek, and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young one, full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient, endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, worried, hungry, mean, hungry, yet today, despite the dream, beaten, yet today, but oh pioneers, I am the one who never got ahead, the poorest worker, battered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt that basic dream in that old land while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the one who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left Dark Island's shore, and Poland's plain, and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland of the free. The free, a dream still beckoning to me. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be. The land where everyone is free. The land that's mine, the poor man's, the Indians, the Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain from those who live like leeches on the people's lives. We must take back our land again. America, oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath. America will be an ever-living seed. Its dream lies deep in the heart of me. We, the people, must redeem our land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and that great endless plain. All the stretch of these great green states, and make America, America again. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Washington Ivory, and I'm a 6-year breast cancer survivor. Thank you. When I was asked to speak today, I indicated that my knowledge base did not allow me to talk about breast cancer and the environment. I wanted to learn and absorb as much as I possibly could about that area. But then I also said the only thing that I can talk about is my experience. And the kind voice on the other end of the phone said, well, would you share that? And I said I would be more than happy to share that. I can encourage at least one woman to do her self-breast examinations and have her annual mammogram, then my mission is not in vain. So that is the voice that I share with you. Prior to my diagnosis of breast cancer, I did have a lump that was discovered maybe 6 years before that was removed, that was benign. And my thought as the person who was rolled into the room that I shared with had just had a mastectomy, my thought was, Lord, if I have a mastectomy, I will die. I am still alive. So never say never. Out of that, however, I did go in every 3 months to my doctor because of fibrocystic disease. And later on, in December of 85, I had my 3-month exam, as I always did, was exercising the way that I did in my 20s, was very conscious about what I was eating, so I really felt that I was taking care of myself, and I really do feel that I was. And 3 months later, after my mammogram, it was discovered that I had a small lump that my doctor thought was malignant. At that time, you know, you get that call from the doctor after you have a mammogram, and the thought was, oh well. But then I ignored it. I took on the attitude that I did when I first discovered the lump, and that it's going to go away. And I had to look at the person in the mirror. Every time I hear that song penned by Michael Jackson, it really hits home to me. And when I looked in the mirror, I said, Joyce, you're supposed to be an intelligent woman. Why aren't you going to the doctor to see about the lump that you discovered? Well, that was the same voice that I heard when I got the call from the doctor indicating that I needed to come in. And my thought was, it's going to be all right. Because prior to that time, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks, doing my Saturday chores, I had the television on just for noise. And I heard this rabbi talking about when bad things happen to good people as a result of his son's experience and his family's experience. And it caught my attention, and my thought was, oh Lord, nothing bad is about to happen to me. And I sat down. So I was prepared by the Almighty that something was about to happen, but I didn't know what it was. And in that process, my thought was, everything is going to be all right. One of the approaches that I chose was to share what was going on with me. Some of us choose not to do that for various reasons, but I felt that I needed the support of family and friends, and I also knew that what was about to happen or what had happened was not as a result of my being a bad person, so that it was all right to share that. And it was really interesting when I came home from the hospital, one of the members from my church called and said, oh, Joyce, how you doing? You had a heart attack, right? I said, no, I did not have a heart attack. I had a mastectomy. And I went on to share that, but I didn't feel that I needed to hide anything. And it wasn't until after friends shared with me the process and procedure that I used that I realized that maybe it was a little different. Because what I did was, I'm an only child. My father died in '79, so it was just my mother and me. And at that time, she was in her late 70s. And I knew that she could not attend to me in the way that maybe I needed. So I had a schedule of friends who came various intervals based on the amount of time that they had. And I thought that that was normal routine. And the support was there for me, and it really did make a big difference. Out of that, after the first year, I gave all of friends and family a red apple with red and white ribbons on it that said, "Celebrate life with me today." And I knew that at the point of a year, or even before then, everything was going to be all right because of my faith and the support that I received. And I remember the night before my surgery, I felt that I was really ready and I was really prepared, but it was really a very difficult time for me. Fortunately, I had a friend who was with me, but I had forgotten that she was there. And I started crying and uncontrollably, really. And my thought was, am I going to make it? What's going to happen? And I said, I really need somebody to talk to. And then it dawned on me, Gemma was there. And I said, no, I really don't want to be bothered with Gemma because she's going to cry all night and keep us both up. And then my thought was, if my cancer is confined to my breast, I can make it. So when I went in that morning, I was prepared because of the faith and because of the strength and because of the support that I had. After that year, it grew. And at the point that I was approaching my 5th year, my thought was I have to do more than share apples. I have to do something else. And I wanted at that time to share prostheses with poor women who may not be able to afford that and had to put a sock inside of their bra because they couldn't afford it. And I said, that's not fair. I can do something about that. So I talked with a friend who works at IRS, and I said, well, what do you do? How do you get this going? And she said, well, you're going to need to start a foundation so that people can get the tax write-off for it. And I said, okay, well, I guess I'll do that. I really wasn't prepared for that kind of structure. But I said, if that's what I need to do what I want to do, then that's my mission. It's a vision, and I'm prepared to move forward with that. I have an 8-member board. The 2 honorary board members include my mother, who's about to turn 83 in August. I feel that way too. That's my roommate and my source of strength. And the other is one of my sorority sisters of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, who came to see me every day, who was right there, and gave me all of the support that I thought that I needed. And who said to my mother when she said, the doctor has said that Joyce has cancer, I don't know what I'm going to say to her. Honey, you don't have to say anything. The doctor will say it, you just be there when she hears it. And that is what she did. All of the persons that I asked, and Dr. Gibson was here. Oh, he's still here. Dr. Gibson, raise your hand, Dr. Gibson. From New Orleans, a community physician. I called, and at the time I did not know him personally. He did not know me, but I remembered him and just asked, would you help me? And he said yes. And each of the other persons said yes, in spite of their busy schedules. And one of the things that we have on the agenda, we try to do it every month, it doesn't always work that way, is a physician's notebook. And Dr. Gibson says to us, I want you to know as much as I know. And that is a part of his mission with us. Allow me to go back. There was not breast cancer diagnosed in my family. Yes, I did begin my menses early at 9 years old. No, I don't have any children, therefore I have not breastfed. So some of those risks do apply to me. You may, if you're from New Orleans, you may or may not have heard about us. And the reason is that we are in the process of securing our 501c3. However, back in October, we did have a health fair at the United Medical Center, and we were just so pleased to see the number of women who came out to support that effort and also to be a part of that health fair. Right now, we are in the process of establishing support groups. If you're interested, please give me your name and number at the end of this session. We will be more than happy to be in touch with you. If you'd like to volunteer with us, we'd like that very much too. And we want to be sure that the kind of statistics that we hear about African American women will change for the better, and we want to be a part of that change. And in keeping with the constraints for time, I will end, but I want you to know that I am really very happy and very proud. I like that. Yes. Madam Moderator, I'm going to commit to stay within 10 minutes. Thanks to Mary Lee, Amy, Belinda, and others who've been very kind. And also, I'd like to say that in addition to being a staff person at SOC, I'm also with the National Steering Committee for Health and Environmental Justice. And my co-steering committee members, would you just stand so people will see you? I have a friend, a brother in the movement with me, who buried his 26-year-old sister-in-law last week. She had lupus. I have a friend in Birmingham, her name was called earlier, who has a little daughter less than a year old. She has already been told that she won't see that little girl grow up to be an adult, or within 15 years from lupus, she will probably die. And I lift up these women because they tend to be black, they tend to be brown. Women with lupus tend to be forgotten. And lupus is also a condition that I am convinced, irrespective of what any scientist says, is environmentally caused. The question of environmental justice and women's health, there are handouts in these two front seats, and if someone would be so kind as just to pass those back. I think that as we go into this question of environmental justice, all of us know the story about who is at risk. And so I won't concentrate on points that we already know of, women of color, women who are poor, but I do want to mention also women who are migrant farm workers, because they are the ones who tend to be in conditions that are subhuman. And I say sub meaning beneath anybody who is a human being should live under. They tend to be women who have to drink and bathe in dirty, filthy water. And they have the kind of conditions that most of us would never dream, even those of us who consider ourselves progressive, would never dream of living in the midst of. And so I want to call attention to women who are also migrant workers and their families, who work in those kind of conditions and who are exposed to pesticides and other kinds of environmental injustices that make them especially susceptible. That is who is at risk. And why are we at risk? We are at risk, obviously, because we are cited for unwanted land uses. We are the ones who get anything that's undesired, whether it be a landfill or an incinerator. Our friends like BFI and Waste Management and others decide that we are the ones with least resistance because we are already overwhelmed, overburdened with poverty. So we don't just have the ability to take the time to say environmental justice is a priority. It should be. But when you can't feed your little one, or you can't even get them to the doctor because you have no transportation, in Atlanta we call it a MARTA card, cannot afford a MARTA card to catch the bus, then how can you be concerned about the air you breathe? We tend to be undereducated. We wouldn't know what a TRI was if it was standing before us. We just simply know that we are struggling to survive every day. And so what can we do? And what must we do? First, we should teach our people. We should teach them the facts. We should teach them about polluters who come into our neighborhoods, polluters who hide behind the job versus myth, job versus environment myth. Thank you. And we always say to our people who want to know how to find these folks, when things smell funny, sniff out the money. And I want you to remember that and say that with me. When things smell funny, sniff out the money. That's right. You'll be very surprised where that money leads you. It will lead you to politicians who are supposed to be public servants. It will lead you to neighbors who are supposed to be your friends. It may even lead you to clergy, and yes, that's true. I'm a person of faith, and I call a spade a spade. Everybody who stands behind a holy desk ain't holy. And everybody who is supposed to be a public servant ain't there to serve the public. And everybody who lives in your neighborhood
neighborhood ain't your neighbor.
Right.
Somebody sold the land to one of those polluters who put the landfill on it. And that person may have very well lived in your neighborhood. Check out the one who has the boat all of a sudden in the big house and who moves away. That's probably the one who may have sold the land to the polluter. We also need to teach our people what pollution is and what it does to our bodies. Explain what the TRI is. Explain what the laws are that protect their rights. And then we also need to reach people. We need to reach those politicians that are reachable. Some of them are out there, I'm told. We need to reach the press and find the ones that are willing to tell our side of the story. We need to reach impacted citizens who are being polluted and who are being killed and who don't understand why. We need to reach the community. We need to reach everyone around us to help them help us get the story out. And then we need to organize. We need to bring groups together. The Southern Organizing Committee is committed to that, wherever they may be, whether it's in rural America, whether it's in West, South, East, North America, wherever it may be. We need to find them and tell them to organize, to let them know that yes, you can do it. You are not voiceless, you have a voice, you simply need to use it. We need to fight back. We need to confront. Don't be afraid to sit in. Don't be afraid to block some interests. Ask the people in Warren County what they did. Ask the folk how environmental justice was pinned from the beginning. It's because some black children lay down in the streets and blocked the way so that trucks that wanted to pollute their lungs and their bodies could not enter into their community. We need to fight back by educating, and we need to fight back by believing in ourselves. There is a woman who is almost 80 years old now, in her late 70s, and more than 10 years ago, she had a mastectomy, and she's very dear to me because she's my mother. There is a man who will not see 80 years old, who about 10 years ago died from cancer of the pancreas. He was my father. Will I fight to the very end? Yes. Am I committed to not sell out irrespective of what people tell me I should do? Yes. Will I be a part of any action agency who claims to be for me but who takes money from polluters? No. Will I fight to the end and give my life to this cause? Yes, I will. And I will do that, and I will challenge each of you to make that same commitment, for if it's not worth dying for, then it's not worth anything. And I say that we all have the power. We have the power because women like Harriet Tubman and Eleanor Roosevelt, Shirley Chisholm had the power. We have the courage. Women like Ruth, who said, I will go where you go. Women like Rosa Parks, who said, I will not get up out of this seat. And women like Rachel Carson who said, no matter what you tell me, I will tell my story. We have the daring. Women of the suffrage knew it 75 years ago, and we applaud them today. We have the hope. Women of indigenous nations, women of developing Latin countries, the women of South Africa. We have the mission. You and I, the women who have lived and who have been those who have benefited from all of the ones who went before us. And the only way that we can honor those women who went before us is to take that mission seriously. I take it seriously. It's up to you. This has been a truly inspiring panel. Let's give them another great. I know that you're brimming over with questions and comments, but in the interest of time, I know I bet your stomachs are talking to you. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask you to make your questions and comments during the lunch break. Now listen, there's a couple of things I want to remind you of. We're supposed to reconvene at 1 o'clock. I'm going to give you a little bit of break. 1:10. 1:10. And I want you to go directly to the rooms that you see listed for your breakout sessions. Now we've got to try to pull this thing together because we've got these wonderful people here who've got you, and a lot of them have planes to catch. So we've got to give them their opportunity to speak and get out there and catch their plane. And we've got some great things planned for you, like great celebration. Don't want you to miss that. Quick changes. In panel C, radiation and breast cancer, that panel is going to begin with Mr. Willie Brooks, who is the president of CAN, Citizens Against Nuclear Trash in Homer, Louisiana. And he's going to speak to you briefly about what they're facing up there and how you can help them. And he's going to be followed by Dr. Ernest Sternglass, who's certainly going to come in there and tell you, hey, those folks are right. They really don't want that stuff there. We also have an addition in the breakout session A, Louisiana Industry and Breast Cancer. That is, I don't see the gentleman's name, but Archie Beaton, yes. And he's going to talk to us about some choices that we can make with our pocketbooks that can help our health. And see you then in those assigned rooms at 110. Now let's go eat.
16th floor.
16th floor. Sorry, those rooms are on the 16th floor.